Howdy. This is Grey Pilgrim. Is this damn thing working? Excuse me, but we're on a different camera because my GoPro has died. This is an old Fujifilm's camera, and it doesn't work all that great. And its depth of field is lousy. Let's see if I can fix that. What does it take to fix that? Maybe it's this button here. I think, let me see. Guys, I'm playing with it a little bit just right now, just to see if I can make it. No, it's not that button. Maybe it's this thing. Hold on a second here. Yeah, that's it. So that's as far as I can go. Okay. Well, that's gonna have to live with that. Okay. Well, anyway, I was thinking about, this is the third try at making this video. Second camera, third try. And it's leaning over, and if it leans too much, it's going to fall over, and if it falls over, I'm going to be in trouble. There. French firearms. At the beginning of World War I, they really didn't think they were going to need a whole bunch of guns. This is what they started it with. An 1892 service revolver. This is what the gendarme in Casablanca wore on his holster. You know, the guy who said, round up the usual suspects. Well, when they went into World War I, as soon as it passed the race to the sea and they went into the trenches, it became a war of attrition. And he who had the best industry to fight the meat grinder wins. So they were trying very, very hard to beat the Germans at their game of industry. And the French were superior at it. Well, the Germans were pretty darn good, but the French still had their resources. They had their French colonies to call on. Well, but they were making rifles hand over fist, and they didn't have a factory for making pistols. So they started with this, and what are they going to do? Well, they went to Spain and contracted to buy a bunch of ruby pistols from the Avar region, all made by different craftsmen, and there's a whole story of the rubies. But at the end of World War I, they did not have a standard pistol. They had hundreds of rubies around, thousands of them. So they scrapped all of that, and they basically stopped using this, and they decided in the 1930s, they did a commission to decide on a new pistol. And so what they did is they bought these two. No, wait a minute. These two. These two. In 1935, they decided on, these were the two runners-up for the top spot, and this one won. This is the 1935A. The 1935A was developed by a fellow named Charles Petter. Charles Petter was a captain in the French Foreign Legion, but he happened to be of Swiss birth. And after he retired, he went back to Switzerland and got a job with Sigh, Zweiges Industriegesellschaft. I can speak German, but I can't speak much in the way of French. Anyway, but I collect French pistols. I collect German ones too, but anyway, this one was made by, let's see if I can tell from the slide, SACEM. That would be Société des Armes de, I forget what that CM stands for, but this was developed by them. I think it was Manufrance that actually developed this. But anyway, this was the standard pistol. But then in 1939, the Germans invaded, and when the Germans invaded, they again didn't have enough. Well, they went to the runner-up, and the runner-up became known as the 1935S. And the S is, well, this one basically, if you happen to go to Sigh and check out the Sigh P210, this is a P210. But both of these are chambered in the 30 Peterson. 7.65 French long. I always get that mixed up because it's the exact same cartridge. The Peterson device was developed in World War I for use by the doughboys. It was a gizmo that you pulled out the central bolt on a 1903 Springfield, inserted it, and then put a magazine inside of it. The concept was for the spring offensive of 1919, walking fire. Walk towards the enemy trenches, spraying them down with pistol bullets. It's a stupid idea, but it was hush-hush super secret then. Well, since the armistice was signed in the fall of 1918, well, that means that the 1919 spring offensive never took place, so they scrapped them all. Well, the French somehow got a hold of the pistol cartridge for the Peterson device, which was, just a scotch longer than the .32 auto, and said, hey, that's a pretty good round. And they designed pistols based on it, and one submachine gun. Well, this is the one that they decided on, the 1935A, which is basically the exact same pistol as a Swiss P210 Sigh. This one, though, was a runner-up that was designed in France by, I think, the Saint-Étienne Arsenal. Yeah, it was either, no, it was Saint-Étienne, yes. Now this particular one, the finish on it is blued and is gorgeous. Finish on this is black lacquer and is awful. But though it lacks in looks, it makes up for in utility. This is a 1935S M1, and the M1 means that this safety, okay, let me show you. The A has a safety, where's the safety? Oh, this is the safety right here. That's fire, that's safe. Well, so they wanted something like that because the original safety on this was fire and then forward was safe. And they changed it to this was fire and this was safe. That is closer to what this is. So that's what they wanted. So this particular mod was called the 1935S M1. And this is a kind of weird because it's marked Mace, or Manufactured to Arms de Châtellerault here, but it's marked Sagum here. This is a trademark stamp. So this slide was made by Manufrance, but the frame was made by the Châtellerault Arsenal. So anyway, this was their substitute standard because the Germans were coming. So they tried to get as many of these out as possible. Then they lost, and the Weimar incorporated these into their scheme of things. After the war, they decided that thing was just a little too cumbersome, and they really didn't need a locked breech for such a small cartridge. So they went back to the drawing board, and they came up with this. This is a MOB. MOB stands for Manufactured to Arms de Boulogne, and is another arsenal. This was their standard Model D pistol in .32 auto, and this was developed, I think, in 1935 originally, but it was made until 1950 or 53, somewhere around there. This one is also marked on the side here, Sûreté Nationale. This means that this particular pistol was used by the National Police, the French equivalent of their FBI. And it's got a beautiful plum-colored finish, and it's just a gorgeous old pistol. This one is designed as a direct knockoff of the FN 1922, a Browning designed pistol in .32 auto. The Weimar already had taken Belgium and were using the FN 1922. They had assigned it to the Luftwaffe. So I know this one and my 1922, I have an FN 1922, both have Waffen stamps on them. So this thing was made during the war and was, or at least it was used during the war, and it was stamped by the Germans with a proof mark so that it was used by them, by their army or somebody. But it was also marked Sûreté, so that means it was later used by the French police. So, interesting. So, from this to this. In 1950, they went to a 9mm pistol. I forget the model number, but I don't have it. These are the four that I do have of